Well, broads, before we get into this episode, I just have to let you know this. I'm a pretty easy girl to please when it comes to the holidays, okay? Sure, jewelry is nice, and I won't turn down a nice new pair of shoes, but give me a box of cookies, and I am one happy broad. But not just any cookies. I am talking about Mrs. Fields, okay? My nickname in high school because I always had a Mrs. Fields cookie with me. I'm obsessed. Mrs. Fields delivers fresh baked gourmet treats like gooey cookies, melt in your mouth vermouth brownies,
oh my gosh,
delicious handcrafted confections right to your front door.
I'm drooling. I'm just drooling. While you won't catch us turning down a cookie any time of the year, Mrs. Fields is particularly great for the holidays because they have a massive amount of holiday gift baskets and they have cookie tins, and both of those make the perfect gifts. So you can get 20% off site-wide with code CHATTY at mrsfields.com. And that's 20% off at mrsfields.com with code CHATTY.
And welcome to another episode of Chatty Broads with Becca and Jess.
Well, broads. It's a Bachelorette Monday recap. We haven't had a Bachelorette Monday in quite some time.
It's like the olden days.
It's like ancient days before the pandemic.
Jess, I just saw that schedule that we posted on the Chatty Broads Instagram, and I can't believe we're about to roll into the Bachelor season.
Can you believe? Do
I look dead inside yet? I'm really excited. I'm very interested, especially because it seems like a very different, talking about Matt James' Bachelor season, seems like a very different COVID filming.
It looks like they're in 17 different countries via the previews.
And it's like snowy and stuff, right?
Yes.
Also, I like the look of the new chalet or whatever is going on.
I know. It looks very, very chic. He definitely got a different experience.
Yeah. Not
so much sweating as all of the other people in this past season have been getting. But speaking of Matt James's season, we are going to be doing. Everyone's been asking about the bios for Matt's,
we'll be doing the cast, men. Don't you worry.
That'll just be coming out the day of Matt's season airing that night. So the morning
what a perfect
of.
time. Perfect
timing. And I think maybe we can corral Evan and Grayston to do it again.
I love that
idea. Do a little date night.
You know I love that idea.
We love that.
Is it all released?
Yes, it's all released.
All right. I'm ready. My body is ready.
My body is ready too. But I agree, when I was looking at that calendar that we posted with all of the Bachelorette episodes coming up,
Jesus,
something started to hit me. And I was like, so recently I've had a hard time falling asleep. And I used to just, watch reality TV, YouTubes to fall asleep. But lately I've been watching Saw.
Oh,
you know the movie Saw?
Are you okay?
I've been watching.
Someone check in on Jess.
I'm telling you right now, I have never watched the Saw movies in my life because I was always too, I love a horror movie, but I'm like, these are way too gory. I won't watch them. I finally turned one on and I fell asleep during it, okay? And then it's been helping me fall asleep, which is horrifying. And then I started to realize this is what watching people go through traumatic reality experiences doing to my brain, that it's stimulated so intensely all the time that the only thing that will lull me to sleep is a gory horror movie.
Jesus Christ. You know what, though? When I was pregnant, whenever we would watch a horror movie, I would fall asleep in it. And I think sometimes it's like your body's reaction to be like, I can't handle this anymore. I'm just going to fall asleep.
Yes.
I always used to fall asleep in the middle of terrifying
Or also
shit.
When there's so much going on in your own brain that's super overwhelming to watch that happening just elsewhere.
Overstimulation.
But when I watch reality TV now, I'm so engaged thinking about okay, well, is this connected here? And is this connected here? And should I take notes here? And da-da-da-da. So now Saw is making me fall asleep.
Are you going to be one of those people that's going to become addicted to gore content?
I don't think so, because I still close my eyes during the parts in Saw.
Maybe that's what puts you to sleep.
Maybe. Point is that I've watched so much of The Bachelor and Bachelorette for so many years that it's almost like my nerves are fried, that it doesn't get me there anymore, that I need Saw to help me fall asleep.
Well, I mean, going along those lines, I gotta say this was one of the more boring men tell-alls. Actually, no, I liked it because it was short and succinct.
We love a half episode men tell all. I say we do this.
That was all I needed.
This is what we need to do over and over and over again.
I guess it wasn't boring. It was just tame.
It was tame. also, remember last year we called it the Women Yell All because it was, or last season it was.
Please, God, please don't let that happen. The Women Tell All has gotten progressively worse throughout the years. Each year, it somehow tops out the last one with just horribleness.
And somehow it feels an hour longer every single time. This was plenty. We got it. We found out exactly what we needed to, but also there was still enough lingering that I have question marks.
I needed to know more about Noah and Bennett. Like that Chris Harrison cut that shit off real quick.
Well, I have theories on why I think Chris Harrison cut that shit off real quick. I'll get into that.
I can't wait.
But I think I saw that Nick is going to have Noah on his podcast on Wednesday, so I bet he'll find out some tea.
I'm so jealous.
Noah. I know.
What the fuck?
But okay, before we dive into this whole episode, we do have to talk some tea. Okay. First and foremost, speaking of the Men Tell All, okay, I received over the past week and a half a lot of messages regarding Noah and Bennett separately. Okay. Like firsthand experiences, school, etc. Okay.
Oh,
now,
yes.
Now,
I just got shivers down my spine.
Them good chills. Now, I don't feel comfortable revealing any of it because it's just, you need more totally confirmation. Fair. I appreciate everyone sending those messages. But I will say this, walking away from all these messages, all of the ones regarding Noah were positive. And all of the ones regarding Bennett were negative. So take it or leave it. They could all be, I don't know. I don't want to, I can't, like I said, I don't want to share any because I am
so glad. I mean, I've been like, crinkling my toes. What do you call it when you're like squeezing them? Like,
just like a toe cringe?
Toe curling my toes? I don't know. Like just sort of hanging on to be like, oh God, I hope I'm right about Noah. Like, I hope I'm right about Noah. I hope I haven't been like gassing him this whole time to just, be just totally wrong. But I'm telling you, the more like I hear and see, the more I get the impression that he is a nice guy. Yeah,
I think so too. I think, again, I think there are immaturities there for sure. But yeah. And I just want to say this too about the Bennett stuff. Nothing scandalous. Yeah. Like, oh my God, horrible.
Or anything bad.
No, nothing
just like
bad.
Impressions.
It was just, not wonderful.
Yeah.
They weren't like supporting messages like the ones about Noah.
Just like rude.
Also some fun tea. And again, a message and actually two messages regarding the fact that apparently like 2 weeks ago, from two different people, Bennett and Ed were spotted together at Margalo.
Where the fuck is that?
Margalo.
What is that?
Well, Margalo is the country club that Donald Trump owns.
Shut up.
That's in Florida, and it was also like all over the Epstein documentary. Like, it's well, he got kicked out. It's a whole thing, but it's all like the elites hang out there, and it's
What the fuck?
So Ed and Bennett were apparently there together, spotted, but it's like a private club. So insiders sent messages. I don't have any photos, but I believe that one for sure.
Like, what look is he going? Like, it's just, Bennett is just too much for me. It's like he goes off this thing of like, I'm not privileged and like, I'm a nice, I don't even know. I'm not a Harvard D-bag. And he's like, let's go to Margalo and have some G&Ts.
Definitely lots of martinis were consumed.
God.
Lots of martinis were consumed.
Ed is just, again, they're just like the henchman. I just can't.
Oh, Ed. Well, okay. And then the last bit of tea before diving in, and this was a big one that was all over this week, all over the papers.
Extra.
Read all about it. Tayshia's ex was on Reality Steve.
Yes. You messaged me about this. I never listened. Did you listen?
Okay. So I listened in pieces. I'll be real with you. I couldn't bring myself to actually listen to the whole thing because I was so frustrated that I ended up just reading the transcripts instead of actually listening to the whole thing because I was very peeved listening to it.
Yeah, it seems like not a nice way to spend your time.
Well, I'll say this.
Who does that? It's like so dumb to come on and be like, I'm the cheater, but it wasn't the way it seems. And then like, I don't know. It's just, I think in his head, probably because his circle is talking about it a lot, he thinks it's the best idea. But now everyone knows who this douchebag is.
Well, that's the thing. So she's never actually said his name or post. Obviously, people can find things.
Yeah.
But, he went on. And so to play the one side.
Sure.
Okay, it's his right. His ex is on reality TV. So technically, like, if his story's being talked about, like, it's his right to go on and also talk about it. But I'm going to tell you this, not a great look on in my opinion, or it didn't come off really great, because what he spent the mass majority of his time doing was saying that the way that Tayshia has portrayed the fact that their marriage ended because of cheating hasn't been fair. He says that she
pushed him to cheat.
Basically. Yes. And you and I, Beck and I talked last week about, like, we have, probably more.
We have grace for cheaters, maybe more than we should.
Yes. So, or at least the openness to be like, people can change and whatever. And listen, guy, okay? He basically came out and said that Tayshia was checked out of the marriage a while beforehand, like wasn't emotionally there. And then he cheated, but it was only the one time. And then finally after that, she said that she'd go to couples. I'm saying this sarcastically. Finally after that, she would go to couples therapy with him. And then it ended up ending. And he's like, well, so, it was just the one time, and it wasn't just a one-sided thing because, like, she had checked out. He's like, but also, like, she wasn't doing what I expected, bringing in monetarily what I thought was going to happen.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. You go on if you're gonna set the record straight, you better have some fucking tea to spill. You better spill some tea. Instead, you're gonna go on and say that she should have made more money and should have been, like, a little more present in the marriage, and that's why you cheated. Like, you look like a fucking idiot, bro.
Listen, if you're gonna come on Reality Steve and be like, well, here's the thing, we were both cheating on each other, and now I'm getting painted as the cheater, but she doesn't talk about how we were both cheating, then I'd be like, all right, this is a little more of a conversation, that it was a mutual cheating experience. Okay. But what he said, it was so frustrating, and it was like, hey guy, guess what? But, like, you cheated though.
Yeah.
So you're going to just go on Reality Steve to be like, well, she just, wasn't what I expected in the marriage.
So instead of me communicating or maybe leaving the marriage, I decided to fuck someone else.
And, like, how... And
don't you think that's reasonable?
And he felt the need, he said, to go on Reality Steve because she keeps bringing up his cheating, that he says that he's having to explain this to more people than he'd like to. Well, there are consequences. There are consequences to actions, okay? And again, in this whole thing, she's never mentioned his actual name. And the only time that he got brought up recently, where they were like, oh, everyone was reporting the ex is coming back, the ex is coming back. Tayshia went to bat for him a couple weeks ago and was like, leave his name out of your mouth. This is not about him. I decided to go on the show. She was very vocal about that and protecting his name.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, that's just stupid. And it's such a bad look. It's just such a bad look.
I was enraged. Like, that's why I couldn't actually listen to it, because I just was so frustrated.
It's just, we all know that guy, right? It's just,
oh gosh. It was like, no. Anyways, just had to say that because I had a lot of strong opinions listening to it, and I was yelling by myself in my bedroom listening to it and then reading it.
Yeah, I'm sure no one was really changed to his side after that.
As far as I know, our goddamn queen, Tayshia, hasn't even acknowledged it.
Yeah.
Like, what a move, okay? What a move that this comes out, everyone's talking about it, and she doesn't even...
Who cares? He's irrelevant. She's with her new mans now. Which after this...
Well, maybe.
Shut up.
Well, no, okay. Yeah, go ahead. You were saying after this episode.
Do you know something I don't know?
No, but I'm starting to get really nervous about something.
Really? What?
So I have a theory.
Okay, I want to hear it.
It's making me nervous.
I want to hear it.
I don't know if you got this sense, but she seemed really sad to me in the Men Tell All. Like, Tayshia is normally so, like, obviously I get she's nervous walking in and it's a different environment, but there was like, even when she walked out, there was just a different energy that was starting to make me panic when I was watching it. Like Tayshia seemed sad and I don't like.
I also noticed she was really flirty with Noah. Funny enough, when you talk, like, it was a very flirty, like.
I have to go back and watch now.
Maybe I'm just reading into it because I'm literally now combing, not because I'm like that obsessed with him, but I'm now combing for any evidence that like I was right. So I'm like watching their interaction.
Sure.
And I wish that like we had seen. I wish there was more about the Noah and Bennett stuff because now Tayshia's watched the episodes back, obviously.
Yes.
And it has seen the whole box thing and like how all the drama actually played out.
But also, when was this filmed?
Well, but they're always given the screeners to see all the most recent drama.
Right.
All the men are. I'm sure she is too.
Yeah.
Because that's what they did for us. Like we watched the 2 episodes that hadn't been released yet so that we could all comment on the most recent drama.
Sure.
So she would have had that too.
Okay, I need to now look back and watch the Noah interaction. I'm going to actually do that after we're done.
I don't think it was like I actually don't think it backs up your theory, but I just noticed that she was like giggly fun. She was like, Noah's fun. Like his energy, he brought something out of me. And then she's like, I see your mustache is coming back. And they like giggled.
This is why my theory makes me nervous. And this is why I went in a full spiral, Becca.
Okay.
Like full spiral. So I'm watching her. She seems off to me and sad. And obviously this is our most recent interaction with her on the show because this was filmed later. And this is combined with me obviously processing through that where is Hannah Sluss and like why did they edit her out and freaking out? Well, now I all of a sudden started panicking because she was seen on location there.
Yeah.
So it was edited out. Or I very confidently last episode said, there's no way we're going to see Hannah Sluss. Why would they have Hannah Sluss come back? And then I started thinking about this. What was the big thing with Hannah? The ending with Peter where Maddie left and Hannah was left. What if they brought, I don't know the timing of when Hannah was spotted, but what if Hannah is brought on with the final 2 because something happens and she talks to Tayshia?
Like, what if like her giving advice?
Yes, because think about this. It would be like, okay, so at the ending with Peter, Maddie left before he even had the option to have like the ceremony, right? Maddie just peaced out.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Right? And then Hannah was left by herself and she didn't know. And then later on, she's like, I wish you never would have even proposed, blah, blah. Like after she said yes, and then he went back to Maddie. What if all of a sudden, or even in the top 4, what if like a hometown situation or the top 2 or whatever, someone leaves and Hannah's there to give suggestions? Because they wouldn't bring Maddie back for that, right? Because Maddie was the one who left, and they wouldn't bring Peter because no one would listen to Peter's advice.
I don't think so because I think Hannah Ann was spotted originally when Becca was there.
Okay.
I'm almost positive. It was like all around the same week.
I started losing my mind, and this is then where it all starts combining, okay? Where it all starts forming together because everything seems too okay to me right now. The past like 2 episodes, there are so many men that seem like amazing options. Everything's going so smoothly that I just feel nervous.
So we need to start looking. I need to start combing through both Zach and Brendan's social media.
Okay.
And seeing if we glean anything from that.
Or Ivan. Or Ben.
Maybe Ben. Yeah, maybe Ben. Maybe Ben. No. Ben's energy is single energy, stoked on paradise energy is what I get from him from his social media. I still think it's Zach or Brendan.
I mean, I think so too, but I don't know. Maybe I am completely reading into this, but there was something about Tayshia's energy that just freaked me out.
What if she was just sad about watching that very intense episode back?
Maybe.
You know?
Maybe. But I'm telling you, it's just the combination of everything that hasn't been settling with me. I've been very confused about the whole Hannah Ann missing moment. Like, where did that go? If they were going to have her.
I think they were just going to have her do a date or give advice or do some shit. And I think it didn't happen or they didn't air it.
Okay. I don't know. But I'm telling you, it's the combination of the Hannah piece for me, Tayshia seeming sad and everything being so right, because I don't recall ever having a top 4 that has been so not drama filled. Right? None of these, I mean, they're all really good guys.
But it was the same with the Men Tell All. The Men Tell All was not crazy drama filled.
Yeah.
Literally the first 2 minutes were the craziest part of the whole Men Tell All.
True.
Which might just have to do with the COVID filming and just
Maybe.
like the lack of...
Or it's just like a really good group. Like the guys were just like more low key, a good group of people.
But I'll say this too. On the beginning of this episode, like Tayshia seems put through the ringer.
Yeah. She is struggling.
Like you can tell they are breaking her. She is sleep deprived. She is being raked over the coals emotionally. And you can just tell she is like, I'm always looking at her like, is she drunk? And I'm like, no, she's just really sleep deprived and just wrecked.
Yeah, and we saw Tayshia cry this episode, of which, when I was thinking about Colton's season, Bachelor in Paradise, that was not a frequent thing that we saw.
No, they are breaking her.
Oh,
And they have to, because they're not going anywhere. They're not doing anything. They are just tortured. She's being tortured.
It's horrible.
She's being emotionally tortured.
Poor T. Okay, so let's get into the episode. Before we get into the episode, you want to take a quick pause?
Yeah.
Okay, so broads, I really hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you plan on sending holiday gifts this year and haven't started already, you might find yourself waiting in long lines at the post office, which is the opposite of what anyone wants to be doing right now. But I will let you in on a little holiday secret, and that is stamps.com. Stamps.com is the only website you need to stay sane this holiday season. Trust us.
With stamps.com, you can do anything you can do at a post office, but right from your own computer. There's no lines, there's no stress, there's no hassle. You just use your computer to print out official U.S. postage 24/7 for any letter, any package, any class of mail, anywhere you want to send.
And you'll even save money with discounts you can't even get at the post office, like 5 cents off of every first class stamp, up to 40% off priority, and up to 62% off UPS shipping rates. Oh my goodness. Okay, saving you time and money. Stamps.com really is a holiday miracle.
Don't spend a minute of your holiday season at the post office this year. Sign up for stamps.com instead, because there's no risk. And with our promo code CHATTY, you get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. There's no long-term commitments or contracts. You just go to stamps.com, click at the mic at the top of the homepage. Click on the mic at the top of the homepage and type in CHATTY. That's stamps.com, enter CHATTY. Stamps.com, never go to the post office again.
Well, broads, if there's anything that really rang true this year, it's that your health is the greatest gift of all. I remember when I was growing up, my mom would say, Jess, you only have one body and you better take care of it. And I'm sure at the time I rolled my eyes into another dimension, because I was a real treat when I was a teenager. But as moms are so often, she was right. And taking care of my health is my priority right now. And Care Of is my go-to for all things personal wellness.
Care Of is the wellness brand that makes it easy to maintain your health and reach your health goals with a customized vitamin plan that helps you feel your best today and supports you long-term. But the vitamin and supplement space can be very confusing, people. I could spend hours browsing the aisles of my local vitamin store and I'll leave just as overwhelmed as when I came in every time. So that's why Care Of is so great. You'll start by taking their 5-minute online quiz so the team at Care Of can get to know about your current health habits, your diet and lifestyle, and any concerns you have.
Then they'll take that information and create a personalized plan that is hyper-specific to you. Their products are not only formulated with the best ingredients, but every single recommendation comes with the research to back it. You'll get to know what you're taking and why you're taking it. I love my little vitamin packs from Care Of, and being able to reference their research gives me a lot of reassurance that I actually need what I'm taking.
I also love their unflavored protein powder. Just used it in my smoothies this morning.
Mm-hmm.
For 50% off your first Care of order, go to takecareof.com/chatty50 and enter code chatty50. That's takecareof.com/chatty50 and enter code chatty50 for 50% off your first order. Pretty good deal.
All right. Well, Bennett is back, the horror. You know what's so funny is I forgot starting this episode that he had come back at first. And so when I saw the little preview at the beginning, I was like, oh, God, no.
And I also thought that, I thought that we would see another conversation, but then apparently, as we find out later in the episode, he got a note. Saying,
It was kind of a letdown, just like the whole Tayshia looking at the box. Like, we thought that we were going to see Tayshia open the box, and we didn't get to see that.
Yeah.
And then we never really saw a Tayshia conversation. We never saw a Tayshia conversation with Bennett after this.
Yeah, no.
It was like, come on, guys.
No, and then he just went home, which we figured was going to happen.
Well, the other person who's back is Chris Harrison.
He is.
After being quarantined, by the way, my favorite thing is that ABC was very flashy about we're bringing in JoJo because Chris Harrison needs to quarantine. And if you look at the time schedule, it was he quarantined for 48 hours and you guys were just trying to.
Yeah.
It was just a load of bull.
Yeah, I guess it was just so she could literally just be there while he was dropping him off at college.
Yes.
He was gone for a week.
No, yeah, if, maybe, right?
Yeah.
But he's back because he's just surprise, I killed JoJo. I can't have her replacing me.
JoJo who?
Huh?
It's also funny to me, he acted like he didn't know what was going on. So, what about Bennett?
I mean, come
she's
on.
He came back, he's like, no, really? He's just the worst actor, I have to say that. He's a great host, he's a bad actor.
I'm Papa CH.
With Clare, where he'd be so, next? What about a proposal?
Proposal? Listen, we know that you like to place we're stupid sometimes and we're not picking up on these things, but that was ridiculous. Chris Harrison isn't getting texted every 5 seconds or called about what's happening while he's gone. He's got a tracker on JoJo while he's gone. He doesn't want this woman taking his place. He's getting
live feeds.
He has a full camera on her at all times. He wants to know what is going on. And also, definitely, while he was quote unquote quarantined after being with his son, where was Bennett? They were probably having some cigars together.
Oh, totally.
100%. Also, CH probably has a membership at Margalo. He's there with Ed and Bennett, and they're all best friends.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, he and Ed got to know each other quite well.
They really did. They really did.
Well, they have a little convo, as they do.
Yeah, and he's asking about who she's into, which he also then said, which killed me. He's like, I mean, at this point, you're splitting hairs. You could be with any of them. And I'm like, well, I don't know if it works that way. Yeah, they're all great guys, but don't say it like that.
Okay, whatever. But more importantly, after their conversation, Blake is having his one-on-one.
Blake finally gets his one-on-one. It felt tense right off the top when she shows up at the guy's place anyways. The only thing that was bringing any sort of light into the room at that moment were Zach's leopard shorts, which I was we appreciate those. But yeah, it felt strange right
immediately
away.
You're like, okay, he's going home. There was no doubt in anyone's mind.
No, everyone knows the second that she walked in, it was this is not the right type of energy to start a one-on-one.
Did you know he was a wildlife manager, aka we should have been calling him Ranger Blake this whole time.
Oh my God, Ranger Blake. Oh, yeah, I like that. So
you should have an action figure. He looks like one.
I heard, because I remember us talking at some point about his animal moment. And someone said it, this could be wrong, but I remember reading a DM that someone said he's not a wildlife ranger. It's something, how The Bachelor likes to exaggerate the titles.
Yeah.
That it might be something more termite control. I don't think that's actually termite control. Something more like that.
You call him when you have a possum,
yes.
in your
Ranger Blake
in your attic.
The possum's back in the attic.
We need a wildlife manager in here. Someone call the wildlife manager.
But I did notice that he posts a lot about animals on his Instagram, which I think
That's
is very cute. Or like in his Insta stories, he's always just like animals.
I can totally see him being one of those guys who has an Instagram account about like snakes, and he's like, "Hey kids, like this is a ball python. Oh no, he looks like he's gonna bite me. Ah, like just kidding. This is actually not a deadly snake." Blah blah. I can totally see him doing.
Or like
some
going
shit
like the
that.
reptile guy that goes to parties and puts the tarantula on the last kid's head when you're holding the giant snake.
Yes,
you know, and scares the kid half to death.
I could totally see
And
that.
the parents are behind doing this. Do it. You can put the tarantula on his head.
He kind of.
Permission.
I mean, like last year he was caring for orphaned baby rhinos.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well then let's take that back. Maybe that DM was wrong.
He says, "I've worked on and off with birds of prey over the past decade, blah, 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 blah." He's totally one of those guys that comes to a second grade class and like shows a falcon. That totally fits him.
Do we love him now?
Yeah. No, I don't know why we got such bad vibes. But look at him giving this bagel to a chipmunk.
Oh, well, I mean, that is wholesome content.
Like, he's totally this guy.
Oh
just
my God.
riding in a car with a fucking falcon. He's totally that guy. I love that for him. What a nice guy.
Well, I wish they would have had an animal date then. He could have really flexed some of his skills and his
feeding
animal
baby
knowledge.
deer. I mean, guys, go check out his Instagram. It's quite a little treat. How cute.
That's precious.
So anyway.
Well, you know, they did finally let Blake and Tayshia off the grounds.
They did.
But the second they were off the grounds, I was like, another ominous sign, because the only other person who's been allowed off the grounds was Jason, who immediately got, heartbroken. So
Poor guy.
So
I forgot about him. When they brought these guys back from Men Tell All, I was like, oh, that's right. There was another season.
yes, and I was like, the fact that then Clare wasn't there, but just
forgot about
Tayshia.
Yosef.
Oh, I really wished I would have continued to forget about Yosef. Thank you so much for bringing him back for all of us to have to deal with.
Oh my God. Anyway, so we have Gita, the Reiki crystal master.
Which, by the way, I don't know if you noticed this later. Gita refers to herself and says, I am a Reiki and crystal master. And later, Chris Harrison refers to her as a shaman and love guru. And I'm like, unless Gita gave you those things to say, give her the right title, sir. Okay?
Shaman and love guru?
Yeah.
That's a bit much, my man.
Well, maybe she also has those titles, but she very clearly said to Blake and Tayshia that she was a Reiki and crystal master. And, you know, my knee-jerk reaction is to be like, Chris Harrison just threw those words out there.
Yeah, I believe that.
You know?
She makes Blake crack a rock open.
She
and
does.
she says, as long as you have these pieces of this stone, you'll always be connected. Didn't know it was that simple. We'll be doing that tonight in the backyard.
You and Grayston.
Yeah. Chisel.
Well, watching this go down was like, it was like rewatching Blake alone with the men saying how confident he was that Easy and Tayshia had the best connection right before Tayshia sent Easy home, because Blake was so like, this is everything we needed for our relationship. And you were just watching Tayshia just disconnect.
My God.
It was really sad.
That's so sad for him. I'm going to have to take these headphones off. Sorry to ruin the vibe, guys, for you watching on YouTube. My jaw's just killing me with the headphones for some reason.
Really?
My TMJ. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Let
Yeah,
me
just been
inject
given
some of
too many
that.
blowjobs lately, you know?
I mean, a queen that we don't deserve.
No, quite the opposite, because my fucking jaw. Anyway, so, yeah, Blake doesn't seem to have quite the powers of picking up what Tayshia's putting down.
Maybe that is what we were getting initially that was throwing us off. That maybe he's just a little unaware.
Yeah.
Maybe he's one of those persons who just doesn't pick up what you're putting out
that
there.
was hilarious when he did say, like, their chemistry is just off the charts. There's no way he's getting sent home.
If there's one guy who's gonna stay, it's definitely Easy get sent home.
He's probably better at reading animals than he is people. You know, animal people are kind of like that.
Oh,
I know. It's cute. So that could be it.
Yeah, that could be it. That could be it. Also, of course, because it's a Blake date, Gita then asks them to disrobe.
Yes.
And Blake's like, well, It wouldn't be a date.
I thought they were getting
for
fully
me.
naked, and I was like, this is crazy.
I know. Again, Blake's getting nude constantly, over and over again. He's just like, I guess this is poor. Blake's now going to be. He's now in a habit that every time he has a date, he's like, isn't this what we do?
Well, do you when they were doing the black box and they were showing the scene at Mental All?
Yes, when he got a boner.
I don't think he did. I think they put the black box to make that you think that. I don't think he actually got a boner, and they were zooming in on it.
Okay. I definitely think that's a possibility.
Okay.
But now thinking about then the guys' reactions, like what were they?
I thought it was just funny because she was dangling it over and the thing was like spinning over his dick. You know, and she's like, there's a lot of energy here. Like,
yeah, now that I'm thinking about it too, huh? He said, like what he said, he's like, what can I say? I'm open.
yeah.
So like he was okay. And she was saying like, oh, there's a lot of like good energy here.
Yeah.
And then they just put the black box over it to make
So I think they want you to think he got a boner. I don't believe he actually did.
That makes sense. I also
Sorry to ruin the fantasy.
No, but I also was gonna say too. You see Tayshia making like full eye contact with the black box, which God bless. But I was also surprised that she was just staring there. I'm like,
that the shocker lady is just like, yes, the energy. Like, whoa, lady.
Let it rise up, rise.
Oh my God.
You know what? That actually makes complete sense to me.
Yeah.
That makes complete sense to me.
The woman was so funny. She was like, she's like pure, like sacred energy. That's so funny.
Blake was just... I could just imagine Blake only picturing the sculpture that he had so carefully made,
crafted
a mere 2
in the
weeks
likeness
before,
of his own.
Maybe it was a self-portrait before they even asked for a self-portrait. He was like, I already made one.
Let's bring in the previous art class project.
Bring the clay back.
Got
in.
it.
I mean, I'll redo it for you if you want me to, but I already did it.
See, so then they do this. They have to do a tantric pose with the guru thing every time.
Oh, but of course, cut to every single season.
Every single season.
No matter where they are, they figure out a way to do tantra.
Yeah,
and that same pose every time.
They stare into each other's eyes, and she just says she doesn't see it. And it cuts to the interview, and the poor girl is just like, yeah, no. Can we just cut this date now?
And he is like lost in her eyes. Like,
he has beautiful eyes. I really do. I really have come around to him.
He really does. And he definitely, I will give him this, when she was staring in his eyes, he does do a good smolder.
He does.
Oh, also, I forgot about this.
What?
So Tayshia the other day was on Ellen, and she did like a couple, who's the best kisser, who's the most awkward conversationalist, who's blah 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 blah. I got it sent to me a lot because I think everyone thought that Tayshia spoiled the end of her season, because Ellen then says in it, who's husband material, and she says someone's name, and then Ellen immediately reacts like, oh, did you just spoil your season? And Tayshia's like, no. But it was, I will say, it was kind of a moment like, that was a very quick reaction to who's husband material, and she only said one person's name.
But also, like, if I'm looking back through all the guys that I've dated, I don't think, like, if someone said who's husband material, I don't think I'd be like, Grayston. Like, yes, like, he's my partner material, but when we're talking about husband material, like...
But if she's engaged to somebody right now and she doesn't say his name, then it was just an intentional, like, I'm not going to say that person's name because I'm engaged to him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, the reason I brought this up is because one of the questions was, oh, by the way, one question was, who is the most awkward conversationalist? And she, without hesitation, said Spencer. So now we know why
Spence. The most awkward conversation? Poor Spence.
Sorry, Spence. Maybe you and Hannah Ann will really like connect. I could just really see that. Anyways,
those piercing. They're both used to everyone complimenting their eyes.
What, these? Spencer. No, can you imagine the two of them having a conversation? Spencer. Well, go ahead. And then Hannah Ann. Well, go ahead. You can say it first. No, I think you probably want to say something. Just who's gonna say that you have gorgeous eyes?
What's your favorite trait about me? No, what's your favorite? You answer it first.
No, like just physical. Like what pops out to you?
Like what did you notice first?
Okay, but the one question, who is the best kisser? She gave a few names, and Blake was one of the random ones.
Okay, this is what I was going to say about Blake as I was going through his social media. I've now feel like I get a lot more about him, and I believe that Blake is like a guy that I probably would have like hooked up with once or twice in college. Never anything serious, but he's like that nice guy who's like chill. You feel comfortable around him.
The chin beard is it's rough for me.
Yeah, I don't really love that.
If that was removed, maybe that's a tough one for me.
But he seems like a nice guy where it's like he's, you're not super into him or anything, but you're just like
he's a good kisser.
He's a good kisser. He's fun. He's easygoing. He's not going to be weird about it. Like if you hit him up and be like, "Hey, do you want to come over?" He'll be like, "Sure."
He's super
no
chatty.
Pressure.
I feel like after you guys would have sex, you'd be laying in bed together and you guys would kind of like gossip.
Totally,
together.
like you'd
and
have
be
fun.
Like, did you hear about that?
That's what I was thinking in my head. I was thinking like you'd go out to Denny's the next morning or something and have breakfast, and you'd like talk
did you
about
hear
everything.
Terry from the tennis team like end up having sex with like you know, Cynthia,
and then you'd be like, "Okay, bye. Like see you in 2 months when we hook up." Like
when we're on Christmas break, and you don't go home to your family and I don't go home to mine.
Maybe we'll watch a Christmas movie together. Totally. And as I'm going through his social media, like he is just so sweet. He got on the top of this volcano and it's a picture of him with a sign. This is from 2014. I'm always skeptical of what people's social media looks like before the fame hits, but this is him in 2014 with a sign that says, "I love you, Mom," on top of a mountain with a smiley face.
Oh,
like that is
nice.
so cute. And it's just like pictures of him fishing with his lab. And he reminds me of a Labrador himself. Like he's a solid pick.
Yeah.
Like just a good choice.
Well, I mean, Tayshia said one, and I think the other, I could be wrong about this, but I think the other three guys she said, best kisser, Zach, Brendan, Ben, and Blake. I believe those were her other three.
Okay. See, not Ivan.
Not Ivan.
No chemistry there. Not enough chemistry there. In
IMO. Yeah. Well, Blake gets shut down by Tayshia, and he did not see this coming. Now, we need to, going off of all your words about Blake, and we really, we've come for him hard for some reason because we got bad vibes. But as I say every single season, an exit to me is very telling.
Yes.
And that was such a gracious exit that he had.
He had a super gracious exit.
And she was struggling.
Oh my God. She was distraught. That's the word I used.
Absolutely distraught. And I feel like numerous contestants on a show like this might use something like this to try to get their way back into the lead's good graces. When someone is saying goodbye to you and you're not asking why, and they're like bawling and feel so bad and apologizing over and over again, like that's then the time that a lot of people I think are like, so why aren't you seeing this working?
Totally.
And he just kept saying, it's okay. It's okay.
I know. He was really, really nice about it.
And quietly got in the car, and there wasn't any questioning of her decisions, no trying to coax her back into or asking what, nothing. Just gracious.
Well, let's get into basically the next thing is she's got to break up with Riley. Which is so... Interestingly, there's a really big gap though. The way they cut it, they made it seem like she's like, I gotta go now and do what needs to be done. She's in a different outfit. It's nighttime. This is hours and hours later.
Becca, can I just tell you this right now?
Go ahead.
I feel like Riley is the person in this season that I slept the hardest on. I am like in this episode... And in the past few episodes, obviously. But all of a sudden, this interaction, which we're going to talk about, and then even then in the Men Tell All, when he first was on the show and we first met him with Clare, I was like, I don't know. He seems like so serious. I don't know. And clearly he just has his walls up and he was protecting himself, and you hear about his story. And as he opens up and he's just like this, like incredibly like sensitive.
He seems like such a protector to me. Like he is going to like take care of the people in his life. Yes. And like when he finds his wife, he is going to like just really like care for her.
I love him. Like, and then when I'm watching him on the Men Tell All specifically, I was a puddle of like, this guy is, I sure hope I mean, he's just wonderful.
The only thing I didn't like though is I didn't really like the breakup part so much with him.
Yes. So there was a moment where I was like, no, but then I feel like he caught himself.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like he knew the direction he was going.
Right. So
because she meets up with the guys. She asked to talk to Riley.
she starts crying.
Yeah.
Heavily in front of the men. Noah hands her a very stiff napkin to wipe her eyes.
I skipped past that.
I was like, give this woman a tissue. Noah tries to find something and it was just from like their lunch and it's like a cardboard napkin and she's like bending it and trying to wipe her eyes with it.
Yeah, she was okay. I just get past my notes. She was. This is where I was like, she is broken.
Yeah.
They have broken her.
Yes.
Like a wild horse, you know? She is now being just, oh my God. I feel for her in this moment.
Did you see when she was talking and like trying to express like what she was going through? Did you see Ivan staring at Riley? Ivan knew Riley was out. Like Ivan, who is like obviously like more of the quiet observer, they kept flashing to Ivan looking right past her at Riley. He knew it was done.
Shit.
Yeah.
Damn, a perceptive king.
King. He's a master chess player. He knows the moves, you know?
Damn.
Perceives.
I like Ivan. So she asked to talk to Riley. And after all that, she's upset. She breaks up with him. Mm-hmm. And this is the part where I was like, and I am very, I'm trying to stop using the word triggered. I'm sensitive is what I'm starting to try to use. I'm very sensitive to certain types of breakups. And I remember this is why I gave Jason a lot of shit on Becca's season. And I've given lots of other people shit for it on certain seasons. I don't like when the lead, especially a female lead, is sort of expected to like make the person understand or like give reasons or explain when and I know it's like not the person, like it's not their fault who's getting dumped. I've been there, I get it, but it's also just like the thing is she's just into someone more than you, and sometimes I want the leads to just, which actually Tayshia handled really well. So anyway, what he said was just like, I don't get it, you know, like what am I missing? But like, what am I missing? Like, and then the one thing that really bugged me is when he was like, why would you keep me around so long? And I'm like, Riley, like what kind of question is that?
I know. And I was furiously taking notes as this was happening. I was like, no, because I'm just such a fan now. And I was starting to be like, please don't do this. And you could tell he was starting to get upset. And
I do feel like he then pulled back.
But what I felt like happened was all of a sudden he was taking a route, because I feel the same exact way that you do with those breakups. I don't feel like again, obviously I've never been in that situation on national TV feeling like, why am I why are you doing this right now? I don't understand. And having those, like, you know, those honest questions and where's like the line to asking and not asking and whatever. But
I just feel like the person never owes you like an explanation.
No. And it's a show.
I mean, like,
yeah,
it's like, I get it if you've been married or you've been together for 3 years or whatever, and you're like, why are you breaking up?
Or even if you've been like officially dating for just like 2 months, I feel like you have every right to be like,
when
can
it's a game where every week where someone's getting sent home, it's like,
sign up
so
for
the
this.
obvious answer is that they're more into the other 6 people that are in that room than you.
And why did I keep you longer? Well, maybe I liked you more than the guys that I got
sent
rid of
home
before. It's just,
you just came down to number 6 on the tier, or number 7 or whatever.
So it's like, no. But then I feel like something when she was then explaining to him, like where she was saying, like, I care about you, like, please keep being vulnerable, like, please don't let this shut you down. That's when I feel like he was having a moment where maybe his maybe past tendencies were kicking in, where he was getting defensive. He was in lawyer mode, literally doing what he does as a lawyer. And then her then saying, like, please don't do that. Oh, something clicked, because then he immediately said, I can argue all day, but in the end, the end result is the same. And then he's just like, I can't sit here any longer because I feel like it's just going to be harder and harder. And like when he left, it was a little bit like, okay, just like, it's time, you gotta move on. But I felt like that was his initial moment of realizing like, okay, I need to stop. And then he had like a sad moment. But then when he was walking out with her and he said like, this is your journey. I'm happy to have met you and I don't regret it at all. Yeah. I was like, okay. Like he had an arc in the conversation. And then again, I feel like on the Men Tell All, he was really open and they had such a great conversation that I'm just a fan. I feel like she said, even in the in their sit down, she said, you have had, I think, the biggest growth curve in this season, which I agree with, because Riley in the first couple episodes, he was getting into some, like confrontations with some of the guys. Yeah. And there was a little bit where I'm like, I don't know. And I feel like he's really had this very like transformative journey through this. And then in Men Tell All, he seems to have really opened up more and it was lovely. Yeah,
and I'm sure it's been a very cathartic experience for him to talk about some of these things like out in the open. Yeah. It's one of the situations where it probably feels good to talk on a very public level about the things that he's gone through.
Well, so Tayshia then is like,
oh man, she is so upset. Meanwhile, the guys in the back are like, oh, so sad, Riley's gone. One less guy to give a rose to. Tragic.
It's also that point in the competition where it starts getting less playful and everyone's more serious every time the lead walks in.
Definitely.
Because the feelings are really starting
to this brew. Is like the week when I got sent home, and I remember that when like one of my best friends from the show got sent home, I was just like, one more rose for us. And everyone was just like, you evil bitch. And I'm like, yeah, you're all thinking it. Like, this is getting tight, guys.
I know what you're going to say when the camera gets shut off, okay?
Yeah, or write in your journal tonight.
Oh, no. Well, Tayshia was bent over, like dry heaving, crying. Tayshia was having one of those moments and she just kept like saying over and over, I didn't want to hurt anybody. I didn't want to hurt anybody. And all I could think about was she was having one of those. Do you remember that Dane Cook comedy sketch where he's asking like, do you ever look in the mirror when you're crying because it makes your crying harder? And you start looking in the mirror and you start going like, and you see yourself crying and you're just like, I did my best. I did my best. I did my best. I did my best. And you keep saying the same thing over and over. And he's like, you lock onto one phrase and it just makes your crying escalate. And she just kept going like, I didn't want to hurt anybody. I didn't want to hurt anybody. I didn't want to hurt anybody. And it was
what I would do is like if my parents said that I like couldn't go somewhere with one of my friends, and I'd be like, it's stupid. Like, I hate them. I hate them. I hate them in the bathroom. Yeah. And then make sure that I come out of the bathroom with my face all red and tears everywhere. Like, you did this to me.
This is your fault.
But that is, oh man, sometimes you get, that's good cry.
Oh, it was an intense cry. It truly was.
Well, okay. So on to the cocktail party. It's like she was upset. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. Poor thing.
I know. It's a rough go. We see Noah pop on a gold pinky ring that I haven't noticed before, which I love a gold pinky ring. I can't deny that. And then
I could not have noticed that at all, and I love that. I have an eyeball for detail.
I have an eyeball out for a pinky ring on a man. And does it seem Godfatherish? Sure. But there's just something about it.
I like it.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Now, then Bennett walks in.
With a shit-eating grin.
I mean, he's got a Noah smirk on his face. He really has that Noah smirk. And he walks in, hand in the pocket, and says, y'all look like you've seen a ghost. And I'm like, how many times... That line, he was just ready to say it.
He had a few that he had considered and said in the mirror a few times, and he landed on that.
Yes, he did.
And akin to Chasen with his smoke show comment,
100%. Now, Zach's side eye in all, is...
When Bennett said something and he goes, why are you putting your hand on me? Zach was so pissed.
I hit the floor. Now, let us recall, Zach is the peacekeeper. Zach is the one who has the conversations and is like, hey guys. That response to Bennett...
That's all the insight you need.
Interesting.
That's what I thought too. Like all the dudes were pissed And Zach was literally like, don't fucking touch me. I'm disgusted that you're sitting on the same couch as me.
Yes. And there are 3 people who I believe I would like to have a conversation with about what's actually happening in the house. And those 3 people would be Brendan, Ivan, or Zach. And be like, what actually happened? Because I feel like they would have a very like
Or
good,
Riley.
Well, yeah, I mean, we kind of
Riley
got
comes up in the mental
Riley
all
takes,
and had some things to say.
Yeah, but when Zach responded, why are you putting your hand on me? Well, Bennett had taken a seat and said, please take a seat. I'll explain to you what's happening. And then he right away says, how much do you guys, he said, how much did you guys hate on me when I was gone? I'm like, they don't think they were really talking much.
Honey, you're irrelevant now.
If it's been more than a day on this show, it's done.
You're over.
You're over.
Sweetie.
Well,
Chris Harrison comes in.
Now,
I will say that Noah lit up with Chris Harrison coming in a similar fashion to JoJo.
Yes.
It was the eyes were aglow.
Yeah, not quite as sparkly-eyed,
but still pretty sparkly.
Still, maybe he also wants to have sex with Chris Harrison.
Has Chris Harrison come in yet? Back to the guys? Wasn't that his first appearance back to the guys?
Yes.
So it was like, Chris,
oh, you're back.
He's back.
He's back. Hey, Dad. What if no? Just like this weird Freudian slip. He's like, hi, Dad. That was a mistake. I sure hope they don't air that part in the film.
That was kind of the face, low key. Well, surprise, surprise. No cocktail party. Didn't see that one coming.
Surprise, surprise. No cocktail party, even though we hear about this note that apparently Bennett got, and he's thinking that he's going to have this moment with Tayshia.
I know.
And nope, it's just going to go straight there. And Tayshia in this outfit, I have something to say to you. Okay, are the shoes so rhinestoney?
What outfit is this?
This is like the pink looking Gucci dress.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This, I think, was a Carrie pick, but I think it was a Carrie success.
That's what I thought. I thought the same thing. She walks in, I was like, that's Carrie that's Carrie all over it.
But a Carrie success.
It did work.
It was like,
I loved it with her skin tone with the pink. It was like kind of perfect.
She looked unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. It looked like Gucci too. That was also
it did.
So
Ben already has a rose, which I forgot. It feels like forever ago. Like when they jump around with the episodes like this and don't start like with the I can't remember.
Very disoriented.
So I'm like, okay, Ben already has one. He's
Yes.
already good to go for hometowns.
Yes. Also in this moment, Noah says, it'd be terrible if he didn't get to go to hometowns because it feels like it would be a good thing for him. Obviously meeting people close to him. And then he throws out that Bennett is a narcissist. He makes a comment. I think that's the first time we've heard Bennett be called a narcissist. But I just wanted to make note of that. He does use that term. Roses, just a side comment. Roses, first is Zach.
Second's Ivan.
And then when she hadn't called Brendan's name, I started panicking.
You really thought, who did you think she was going to keep?
I don't know why I started panicking. Like, I was convinced that, or we've been convinced for a while that it'll be Brendan and Zach in the top 2. But I don't know what it was. My body thought that it would be like Brendan first row, Zach second, Ivan third. And there was that moment where I'm like, oh, is this a weird twist all of a sudden? Because I thought that it was going to be that it was more questionable if Ivan was going to get the rose versus Brendan. So anyways, he gets the rose. Obviously, Bennett and Noah are out, which it's like, well, this could have been done last week.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Noah had a sweet exit.
And he is crying.
He was crying in the limo.
Like legit crying.
I thought his exit was really cute. Obviously, I only have eyes for him apparently, but his exit was cute. He was just like, I don't have to tell you guys like to take care of her and like I hope you get everything that you're wanting. Bennett didn't cry in the limo. Bennett was just shocked and confused that someone wouldn't choose him.
I also feel like Bennett was not as long and drawn out as last time, but it had the potential to be that way if she would have been able to walk him out. Because when he stood there again, just shocked, staring at her and was like, well, I'm like, oh God, are we going to do another one of these round 2? It had the potential to be another, like Thank him God. Just being befuddled walking out. But
thank God it wasn't. I mean, and then I was like, this was like you said, they could have gone last week. I was like, there wasn't any drama between them.
No.
Except for his stupid entrance. It was the whole thing was pointless.
The whole thing was pointless. Well, top 4, as we predicted, Ivan, Ben, Brendan, Zach. We predicted that quite a few weeks ago. I feel pretty good about that.
I mean, this season has been very predictable.
Yeah, I feel like it, but I'm going to take a win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've had some losses this season with like guessing how many weeks it would be and what would happen. So I'm gonna.
Did we make any guesses when we went over the cast list? Who wins?
I'm gonna have to go back and listen.
We were also judging with Clare though.
That's true.
So that throws everything
that's
off.
Change everything.
Should we take a quick pause before we get into the men tell all?
Let's do that. Okay, well, broads, as I get older, there are just more things about my body and my health that I want to know. My younger self will be quite disappointed to know that I have come to terms with the fact that I'm not invincible. And that's why I'm so happy to have discovered Everlywell, the company that makes at-home lab testing easy for everyone so you can stay on top of your health. They have over 30 at-home lab tests to choose from, everything from thyroid health to women's health to STD testing, allergy tests. They got the works.
Yeah, I actually took a test from Everlywell recently regarding vitamin D and inflammation.
Oh,
that was really interesting. I mean, the whole process is so easy. You just prick your finger at home, sent it in. And I got info on my vitamin D levels, which I had been wanting to know about.
I didn't even know that they had that one.
Yes, they do.
Well, here
Check
I go,
it out.
learning all the new things about Everlywell.
Yeah.
Like B said, not only will you get the results quickly, but the test is super simple. You'll get mailed whichever test you choose, and it comes with super easy to follow instructions. When you're done, you just mail back the test with free shipping so it can be reviewed by a physician, and within days, you'll have the digital results personalized and easy to understand, which is important because I know I'm not the only one that usually just pretends to understand lab results from doctors, and I really don't know what they mean. With Everlywell, you'll actually understand your results. If you want to better understand any aspect of your health, Everlywell really is the way to do that.
For 20% off an Everlywell at-home lab test, you can visit everlywell.com/chatty and enter code chatty, and that's everlywell.com/chatty. Code chatty for 20% off your test. Everlywell at-home lab tests, your answers your way.
Okay, well, broads, you know that we are some physical self-care queens on this show. I'm always down for a manicure or an at-home face mask. Like, say no more. I'm there. But what about our self-care kings out there? Well, Hawthorne is going to be the new favorite site. And if you haven't finished your holiday shopping and you're looking for a gift for a partner or a parent or a friend or yourself, listen up.
Hawthorne is the perfect place for gifting. It's the only premium tailored self-care brand made just for men. And if it's for you or if you're giving it as a gift, you'll start with a quiz of some fun questions that'll help the team at Hawthorne get to know you or them better. Things like what's their favorite drink or cocktail? What's their ideal plans for a night off? Things like that. And they'll use those results to create a custom self-care package.
And in that custom self-care package, it might include something for their skincare, their hair, body wash. And from firsthand experience, like I've talked about, your girl has smelled some friends who have been using Hawthorne products, and oops, I fell in love with all of them. So be careful. It smells so good. And Hawthorne knows, like we all do, that buying anything online can be risky with a capital R, and that's why they give you free shipping, free returns, and if you don't love the products they send, they'll retailer a new batch based on your feedback.
Take Hawthorne's quiz today and get started on your personalized self-care routine by going to hawthorne.co and use promo code chatty to get 10% off your first purchase. That's HAWTHORNE.co, promo code chatty. Hawthorne.co, promo code chatty.
All right, well, part 2 of this was the men tell all.
Where the hell's Chasen?
Okay, Becca, this is what I was saying. First of all, that was actually really rude that they didn't have Chasen where they start off talking about Chasen with him not in the room.
Maybe he chose not to come on.
Maybe, but I just don't assume that. You think that Chasen's going to miss this opportunity? I bet he's hours ago been watching this episode.
Yeah.
With a beer or a White Claw in his hand, just smashing it against his head, just like so angry that the Wolverine wasn't able to share his side of the story. I didn't understand why they had some men and not others. It was kind of
no.
It was a little bit of a random choice. Like the fact
true.
that they had Kenny, but they didn't have Chasen, which I feel like they had the same amount of screen time. And I don't know. There were just certain guys that I felt like, even like Spencer was on until recently, and Spencer wasn't there. I don't know. The whole thing kind of, it was interesting to me why they.
Do you think they had like a COVID limit? Maybe. I noticed they like sort of had them spaced 6 feet apart, but then like she was sitting 2 feet apart from them. It made no sense.
No, and then also she was like, "Can I give you a hug?" And like they also some of the guys were spaced 6 feet apart, and some of them were sitting right next to each other. I'm just like, guys, I not that I care. I'm sure they all had tests or whatever, but just like either put them all together or don't. What are you doing? Yeah, either put them all 6 feet apart.
I need consistency.
Yes, that's all. Consistency. Do it like how they've been doing on the Real Housewives reunions, in a big circle where they're all 6 feet apart, and you can have like 2 rows of like a horseshoe shape. But why? There was no.
And then you're hugging, and then you're sitting next to each other. It
didn't make any sense.
Hopefully, it'll be more together for what's his face's season.
We can only hope and pray that they've really gotten their shit together.
One or the other. Pick a side. Pick a side. So,
well, fashion for a moment. Can we talk fashion? I'm sorry. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay.
No.
Fashion. My King Kenny, who I do have certain things to say about. My King Kenny, who I thought was going to come to a demise on Paradise, and he seems to be just taking a quick shortcut and already beginning this situation. And I believe he, after this, will 100% have a Paradise moment, and it's going to be a train wreck, and I'm here for it because he is my king. He's in a full camo suit with a hoodie. So he's in a suit.
Unbelievable.
With a hoodie. He has major, like, Niall Horan from One Direction circa 2014 vibes going on.
Which comes full circle with the insults later on.
Yes, it really does. I felt like Noah, I wrote this before hearing Noah's One Direction shade at him, and I was like, I actually wrote about him looking like Niall Horan. Spot on. And Bennett is wearing a purple scarf.
Those look so stupid. Why are you going to wear a scarf if it's not keeping your neck warm?
Well, I thought that those scarves were worn by like gentlemen when they have
or like
brunches.
If you're graduating or something. You know, what are those things called?
Like, when you have like a certain award or whatever.
Yeah, or if it says like 2017.
You're like, why doesn't your scarf say magna cum laude, Bennett?
Yeah, Harvard.
Well, I think that those are like very Gatsby, but they're typically worn like outside, right? When they're having a soiree in the garden party or having like a garden party. I don't know why he's inside wearing that.
I'm not going to lie. I'm so like, he is not an entertaining villain for me. I'm so over him. I don't want to see him in Paradise.
We will see him in Paradise.
Obviously.
So prepare yourself. I hope though, like, if him and Ed come together, I will be tickled. If he's without Ed, I'm going to be pissed.
Because he's just annoying.
But I definitely feel like that purple scarf had significance. Like, at one point at the beginning, when they did his intro and they cut it out, he was like, I'm actually wearing this purple scarf because this represents royalty.
Yes, that's exactly what's going on in my head.
And I'm here to make sure Bennett realizes that I am above all of this and that I...
No. This is why he would say, it's purple, the color of royalty, because Tayshia is still my queen. And yeah, it'd just be something stupid.
But don't you think that has significance, that purple scarf?
I'm sure he chose it.
He seems like someone
pointedly,
who like Noah says later, is very meticulous, and who every action he takes is very precious. Like, I wore this same suit because 15 years ago, when I graduated with honors in my high school, I was wearing this exact same lapel, and yeah.
I hate that. He's so annoying to me.
Not a fan.
He's like watching himself and he's just like laughing.
Oh, when he was watching himself.
I'm like, are you 13? It's crazy to me that he's insulting other people, calling them 14. I'm like, Bennett, to me, is like a 14-year-old watching like his own highlight reel, being like, I'm such a funny guy. Oh,
Bennett.
We see, by the way, when we're going through the reels, that Noah did ask him how to spell privilege. We finally get it cleared up. I don't know if you caught this.
I didn't catch it.
Noah asks him how to spell privilege, and Bennett says, Bennett says in the clip that they showed, when Noah asked me how to spell privilege, was that supposed to be a snarky comment? But like Noah just asked him how to spell privilege while they were doing their art. It was like people had pointed out. So we did get clarity on that. Yeah. And Bennett was saying, yeah. Did you, was that a snarky comment? Yeah.
So we have now officially clarified that it wasn't actually directly to him.
No, he asked while they were making their craft.
Because
how do you,
actually
Bennett, do you know how to spell privilege? Well, don't forget in the quiz, Bennett was misspelling everything.
God, it all makes sense.
So then it's like it's probably a snarky jab, not about privilege, but I'm sure Noah was trying to spell well, maybe it was a snarky jab. I don't know. But either way, he actually was asking him how to spell it during the arts.
Also,
which could be a joke about how he couldn't spell during the quiz.
Also, something was that now I don't have it pulled up, and what a horrible host move of me. But there, I ended up seeing the other words that were on that side of his portrait.
Yeah.
And it was like the quote unquote, like the
Dark
negative side, right? Yeah. So it was like, okay, there were other words that were lined up. And it was interesting to me that he put privilege on a negative side. Mm-hmm. And there was like an acknowledgement of the fact that I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
I like him.
I know. I was like, wow, it's very aware for you to put that and be aware of like how you were raised. Too. Yeah. EQ.
EQ, IQ. Do you believe it? Okay, fine. We'll get there when we get there.
Okay.
Yeah, Bennett was so into watching himself. I was getting infuriated watching him watch himself.
He was slicking his hair back watching himself. The biggest smile in the entire world.
Chris Harrison asked Ed what bothered him about Chasen, and Ed goes, a better question is what didn't bother me about Chasen?
Ed is a actual character for like you cannot convince me. People are saying, Bennett is this evil villain, which obviously we agree with, but more so than Bennett, Ed is a character from a movie.
Okay, I hope that Demar gets on Paradise. We saw Demar have a moment playing devil's advocate for Chasen, which I always love a devil's advocate because Demar is like, okay, so like, were you coming for Chasen? And Chasen was like, okay, he's like, you're coming for Chasen because he said both women were beautiful. And Ed was like, no. He said he had never felt anything like that before for both women. And Demar was like, well, it's possible that he had never felt anything before with Clare. And then he had never felt anything before like he did with Tayshia, you know?
Then, of course, Ed has his comment ready and in that back pocket. He's the 3 Fs, fraud, fake, and phony. And phony is spelled with a PH, but he's too dumb to know that.
Mean.
It's really mean. And guys, Chasen's not there.
I know. And then Demar goes, you talked more about Chasen than you did about Tayshia. Shade. Yes, king.
Demar. I trust Demar. And
I do too.
Later on in this conversation, Demar also says, yes, Bennett, you speak down to people, okay?
I trust Demar too.
Trust Demar.
Demar, get on the live on your Instagram and spill some tea,
Demar,
please.
spill the tea. Also, Demar, let's remember back when Blake was saying like, oh, of course, Easy's the number 1 for Tayshia. And I told you Demar was sitting there going like, like was the only one. Demar knows some stuff, okay? We trust Demar. We trust Demar at Chatty Broads.
Yeah, I agree.
And he was the only one really stepping into confrontations in this episode against the Kenny, Ed, Bennett
Which
trio.
I liked because sometimes people are very obnoxious about trying to involve themselves in every conversation that doesn't involve them in the tell-alls. But Demar was like kind of inserted himself kind of perfectly into this certain conversations.
It was just occasional. And he never even was like interrupting. He would just wait and he was just sitting there looking gorgeous.
Yeah. I love the hair.
I love the
new hair.
He just
Wait, he didn't have it dyed, right?
No, I don't think so.
Because he had it bleached, which I don't think he did during the season.
No, I don't think so. He was his style always obviously.
Yeah,
we were
the
just like,
turtleneck.
oh my god, with the chain. Okay, but he's just sitting there looking gorgeous and just inserting himself in the right ways,
saying clever little things too.
And then every time one of the guys, I'm so sorry, I keep hitting my headphones against this mic, and I'm sure it's so annoying for everyone.
They're kind of in the wrong, like I don't know how, but
I know.
Sort of
I
all
apologize if in this episode you keep hearing dings.
Evan's fired.
Evan, you're fired. Or I'm just moving my head too much. But also Demar, every time there'd be a moment where he'd say, well, actually, to one of the guys, and then they would try to keep arguing with him, he wouldn't ever take it too far. Like he would let the other guys have the last word and just be like, all right.
Yeah.
And it was perfect.
Well, Bennett, of course, defends Ed in that moment.
Of course, the two of them and their weird.
So weird.
And also, they're all laughing and making fun of how dumb Chasen is. And Chris Harrison's like, stupid idiot, Chasen.
Moronic.
Stupid idiot. What an idiot. I mean, it was so, I could not believe that they were, it just got me so mad. I don't like when they have these like conversations like this with the guy and he's not in the room.
Yeah, because you can kind of say whatever you want when someone's not there.
And you can
we do it all the time on our podcast.
I mean, that's what this podcast is, but when there's an opportunity, but guess what? ABC won't let us have current people on, so we can't ask them. But you know who they could have had on was Chasen.
Yes, who was involved in the drama.
Correct.
He probably had a COVID wedding or some shit. Who knows?
Probably.
So that's all. It's always that, right? Someone's giving birth. I don't know. So now we get to Noah and Bennett.
Yes. Now we get to Noah and Bennett.
Noah comes in hot and is like, well, I don't have any control over his insecurities. That's the tea, which is what we've been seeing on here. I'm like, Bennett is jealous.
Yes. And Noah just came in and he said exactly what we've been talking about, these insecurities. And it feels, and Bennett's facial reactions in this Men Tell All, we got more face movement from him than in this 10 minutes than we got from him the entire season. He was having McKenna-like facial expressions, the amount of extreme, like anytime Noah would say something, he would like rip his glasses off and bite the edge and be like, like flinging his scarf. It was
so funny.
It was wild. I'm like, wait,
you're right.
he's normally so expressionless, and then all of a sudden it's like, what happened? What's with the Jim Carrey situation?
He's throwing his leg over the side of the couch. That is just too
This is
funny.
preposterous.
Oh my God.
And then I started thinking, oh my God, McKenna and Bennett in paradise, perhaps?
Poor girl. No, she thinks she's too good for him. Like, not that she's not. She is. Sorry. Didn't mean to make that sound weird, but
I could see him just be, oh God, I'm just, him in paradise. He's going to have so many different types of shorts.
oh, you're so right.
He's going to bring 17 different trunks. And they're going to be kind of those shorter trunks, which I normally like.
And they're going to be but they're going to be like do you know the brand Chubbies or something?
Yes, and they're all
going to be
patterns. Chubbies, pineapples, little sailboats.
Yeah,
he's always going to have a martini in his hands the entire time because everyone's always drinking. He'll make sure he always has a martini. Everyone's always drinking. He'll always have a martini, and then he'll go up to random women and be like, "Milady, can I take you to the cabana?"
I'm sorry, I threw up a little bit in my mouth.
May I take you to the cabana?
That's not okay, but it's true.
My servant Ed has set up a picnic for us. Ed's finishing making the picnic. Well, Noah, like you said, he's saying all the things that we were saying. Now, Bennett is claiming that he's never had beef with Noah and that Noah
that
created
was the
this.
most honey, we watched it back.
We saw
you can't say that.
Well, it was interesting though because I think what we do see from this though is we don't know where this started.
That's true.
We don't know where it started. And then Noah says that he could tell that there was tension via comments that Noah had made, and he tried to let them roll off his shoulders, but then he realized that he's meticulous, he's intentional. Now, all of a sudden I started thinking, was he throwing these belittling comments in Noah's direction, and some men just kept their mouth shut and were like, oh, this is just how Bennett is, and it's him being funny, and then maybe Noah's more sensitive, and because he kept saying there's tension, maybe he's a little more sensitive and he was picking up on what seemed to him be like energy that Bennett didn't like.
Which there immediately, like when Noah jumped the fence thing, Bennett was peeved.
Yes, of course.
Like,
and Ed and Bennett were probably in the jacuzzi later that night. You know,
like this juvenile.
and just stirring each other up, winding each other up.
What was hilarious to me was Chris Harrison giving the leading questions. So Chris Harrison like brings up the book and they bring up the gifts and they play that whole scene. And Chris is just like, so do you believe that Bennett gave you that book with good intentions, Noah? I'm like, this line of questioning would not hold up in court. You are leading him. And Noah's like, no, of course.
And then he said, and then Ed, well, did you read the book?
Ed, have you read the goddamn book? Why don't you shut the fuck up?
Ed probably sleeps on a stack of those books, okay?
Do you believe that Noah read it? Probably not.
I believe that Noah skimmed through it the night that
Probably
Bennett
read some
left.
points.
I bet the night that Bennett left, he was just like, this motherfucker, what is he trying to say about me? And skimmed through it. And maybe got his feelings hurt a little bit.
I think that he probably like threw it in his suitcase and then was unpacking it and probably like sat on the floor and was like, yeah, picked through it and was like, huh.
Yeah.
Well, good points. And then he says, great shade. Love the shade. He said, yeah, I read it. It's a good book. It's a shame you've read it 4 times and didn't learn anything.
And then Bennett
came for him.
And then Bennett thinks he is swinging for the fences. And he's just like, again, the fate. Oh my God. It doesn't, sometimes he does these things that are just so unlike how he is in general that I'm like taken aback. Like I stumbled with his like, oh my God.
Like
response.
Good comeback.
Yeah, oh my God. And he goes, I was being nice when I said you have 3 of them because you lack, or he's like, I was nice when you say, wow. I was nice because I said that you lack 3, but you actually lack all 4 of them.
And Ed's like, ha ha.
And Kenny. Kenny is Ed and Bennett part 3.
What's the deal with Kenny being on the...
Kenny, look at me. We could be together. You and I could have a future together, but you're going to have to break up with Bennett and Ed.
And also you're going to have to DM her and tell her why you're on Bennett and Ed's side.
Yes, actually, please let me know. First, before we start dating, let me know why you are on Bennett and Ed's side. Please and thank you. Because he also, all day today, was posting, like, him and Ed were tagging each other back and forth, like, ready for the men tell all, like, winding each other up about it, super excited for their moment. Ed was saying, yeah, they had to bleep out everything Kenny was saying. And...
oh, my God. Well, and then it became Kenny versus Noah. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yes, then Kenny throws shade. Oh, first, Riley.
Yes.
Riley coming in.
What did he say? I didn't write it down, but I said, yes, Riley in my notes.
He goes, hold on. Like, you can't tell somebody that they have 0% chance with someone else. That's so disrespectful. He's like, also what's disrespectful is you connecting Tayshia's decision.
Yes, and Tayshia did make that, like, you were questioning. Yeah,
you were questioning her. And also, like we were saying in one of our episodes, you can't tell somebody that they have a 0% chance. That's very, very disrespectful.
Yeah.
And so then for Bennett to be like, what? I was just telling him my opinion, or, definitely Bennett wouldn't say my opinion. He would just be like, I was just telling him exactly the truth of the matter because I have high emotional intelligence. And I was letting him know that there's no way that they could ever be together. Obviously, I was right. Look, here he sits with us. Ugh. I hated that Noah didn't get picked to go farther just for him not to be at the Men Tell All and Bennett not to have that.
True.
I would have loved to just have Bennett go off about Noah without Noah being there because Noah was like in the top 4.
Yeah, true. That would have been the greatest irony.
It made me sad.
When then what did Kenny say that warranted this? What did Kenny say before Noah gave his fire ass?
Well, Kenny makes some comment. He was just like, well, she didn't. He goes off, I think, because of Riley.
Did he call Noah drunk?
Yeah, he said, well, when Riley was trying to defend the situation somewhat, Kenny then made some comment about like, that night he was drunk and then he got a rose while he was drunk and da-da-da. And so he called him I don't know if he called him a drunk, but he said you were drunk and was kind of alluding to him being like a party boy. And then it all starts falling together for me. I'm like, why is Kenny on Bennett and Ed's side? It's because the night Kenny got sent home was the night that he didn't get to talk to Tayshia because Noah was like, hey. So now Kenny's taking, honey, Sweetheart, look me in the eyes, Kenny. Don't take it personally, okay? This isn't about you. She obviously hadn't seen your photos online. It's not about you. He takes it personally, and now he's going for Noah. And it's like, no, don't join the wrong team.
He's like, you're the reason so many people went home that night.
Yes, don't be on the wrong side of history, sweetie. It's not about you.
And then Noah says that's a lot coming from the drunk One Direction manager. With stars tattooed. He came for the star
He came for the stars. Finally, someone acknowledges the stars. Finally, someone sees it.
I was quaking.
Oh my God.
I was literally like I was watching this, by the way, while I was on the treadmill, and I was like...
I just wanted Kenny to be like, the stars mean a lot to me.
You wouldn't know anything about being a star. The eyes tearing up.
If you came to me for management, I would never sign you. I know the it factor when I see it. You do not have it, Noah.
I know the it factor when I see it. I know what young girls want. We're like, Kenny, no, stop.
No, Kenny, you're already ruining it. Stop. Oh my God.
Okay, so, well, Bennett is like, when else was I condescending? Can someone give me timestamps, receipts on when exactly I was condescending?
For the love of God.
Please tell me the day and time and what did we have for breakfast?
For the love of God.
And then our new king, Blake, comes forward and is like, there are times when you're just, like, that's kind of, he's like,
it's like, it wasn't for me personally, but you can be that way.
And then Demar came forward as well and said, like, from an unbiased opinion, And then he said something about Bennett being condescending about age, and Bennett's like, it's not about age. And I'm like, okay, except for the bazillion comments you made calling him a baby, a child, a teenager, a 14-year-old.
One example to say, excuse me, Bennett, how are you condescending? You called him young Noah to his face and to the lead and to all the men the entire time.
I'm not here to be a mentor.
I'm not here to breastfeed him. Your milk is sour, Bennett. He wouldn't even want it.
It's dried up. Shriveled. Like your tiny little balls. That's weird. So, but I'm like, Bennett, literally every insult you ever lobbied at Noah, except for emotional intelligence, which is just, the irony is thick.
So thick.
It's every single insult was about relating to some sort of child, some sort of ageist remark.
Yes, exactly. And I believe too, like, they obviously had a problem with Chasen, and I think Chasen was one of the younger ones too. And at one point too, Bennett was just like, you project because of the way I look, the way I dress, the way I carry myself.
He goes, I know I have this look and feel. And I'm sorry if that offended you.
And he's like, you project the way my resume, he said. It's just like, oh, geez.
Your resume?
I mean,
no one gives a fuck about your resume.
On this show, Bennett, nobody cares.
No,
okay?
No one cares.
Listen, maybe in real life.
What's your IG following, Bennett? That's currency
actually,
over here.
Killing it right now.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I think more so than most.
Do you think people are hate following him?
I don't know. I think they're maybe.
Or maybe they got him in the beginning.
Him.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Bennett.
But Bennett, when you're on the show, nobody cares about your resume.
Yeah, he's kind of killing it.
He's killing it.
And he gets a lot of likes. What the? And there's Bachelor Nation people liking his stuff. I don't get it.
I don't.
Do
you know who loves him? Which makes
Rachel.
Rachel loves him, makes my heart hurt.
But other people like it.
Because I worship everything she does.
Other people liking this. Clare, Chelsea for my season, Ashley, Yo, what are you
Maybe they're scared of him.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know.
Well, he doesn't realize that when you're on The Bachelor, sir, or when you're on The Bachelorette, the other contestants don't care about your resume. What's cared about is if the lead likes you or not. That's the competition. Who likes you? Not what do you do.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe in real life, you're used to people being nervous.
You like being better than other people because of your resume or how much money you make,
right, or
whatever.
Maybe even in real life, other people are like, oh my God, like so impressed when they hear his resume and they hear about, all of his money. But when you're all in La Quinta the entire time, you can't really show off your wealth You're all in the same situation.
Yeah.
And what the competition is does the lead like you or not?
Yeah. Yep, I'm with you on that one. Well, so... and is that when then Noah says he's like...
the apology?
He's like, I could accept apology if it was...
Yeah, because
real,
Chris
and
Harrison...
I don't feel like it was.
Chris Harrison, do you have any last words? And then Bennett's like, I'm sorry for the way I look and who I am and if it affects you. It's like, well, that's not an apology, but okay.
I'm going to start using that one, actually, though. I like it.
I'm sorry for...
I'm sorry if, like, my look and how I carry myself and, like, the way people love me, if that offends you or hurts you in some way.
I'm sorry if my stunning eyes
like,
and
when we fuck up on Chatty Broads,
you.
should we do that? Like, I'm sorry that our successful podcast where we're so charming and interesting said something that you find or no, not even said something. I'm sorry that like our wit and our charm and our successful podcast like hurt you in some way for some reason.
I'm sorry if I made you feel insecure. It's
you
never
say that
my
at the top of an
intention.
episode and we're apologizing. Can you imagine? I mean, really, the
Like,
lack
think
of
about
self-awareness.
It's wild. It's wild. Now, here's my theory. So I don't think, like you were saying, I think Chris Harrison was setting up questions to question Noah. He was not coming in. He did not confront Bennett in any way, right? So it definitely felt like Noah wasn't able to explain himself like he should have been able to in this circumstance. And even at the end, Chris Harrison cut him off because Chris Harrison said any last words and he let Bennett have his last word, and then Noah was responding and then Chris cut it off. And then Noah's like, wait, but and then Chris cut it off. Now, I truly believe in my heart of hearts that Chris Harrison has a relationship with Bennett. Like 100%.
Do you think he's his wealth manager?
Yes. Chris Harrison is a very wealthy person, right? Wait,
do you actually think that could be it?
I don't think that he's his in wealth management, but obviously we saw, especially in this season, that Chris Harrison was working out with Ben, that Chris Harrison spends time with the men. What if like off the clock, Chris Harrison was like playing a round of tennis with Bennett? What if there was a relationship? You know, Noah, there's no way Noah is hanging out with Chris Harrison, but Bennett and Chris Harrison probably have friends in the same fields. Bennett's probably just like, oh, Philip who works at a
Stuckman Gold Max, whatever.
He represented my dear friend William in the one when he had the case against, and Chris Harrison was like, oh my goodness,
the Bromsteins.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I've been friends with the Bromsteins for years. I didn't know that you were all. I have a feeling that these two have a relationship outside.
I hate that.
But can't you see it?
Yes.
I have a feeling that they have a relationship outside of it, and that Chris Harrison is very hands off from Noah.
Yeah. Interesting. I also think that they want to create some sort of arc for Bennett on Paradise.
Yeah.
No, I'm just never mind. Now I'm just projecting. For some reason, I'm projecting myself onto Noah throughout this whole experience.
I mean, I get it.
I'm associating myself with him for some reason. And
I think that's why what Nick has been doing, and people say that Nick really likes Noah.
Yes, me and Nick, we see eye to eye on some things. I will be listening to that interview, and I'm very curious. Yeah, see, you're right. Nick's was like when he was associating himself with Pete. He's like, a young, hot Bachelorette contestant like myself in my younger years. We love you, Nick. Anyway, I had this weird feeling that I'm like, why do I feel like production is like not fully behind Noah for some reason?
I don't think that is necessarily far-fetched.
Yeah. Why do I get that vibe?
Well, I think there's definitely Noah having gone on a couple live streams, and maybe if I was in Noah's position, he was like kind of doing these recaps that I was like, my guy, I don't know if I would say this because production may not be pleased. And it made me feel like maybe Noah feels like he was done dirty in some way. And so he's frustrated. So
like, I almost feel like I could see them not bringing him on Paradise, but I think they will. But there's like I feel like there's like a 30% chance that they won't ask him on Paradise.
I'm going to up that percentage and say 50.
Shit. See, okay, so you agree.
Even though I don't know if they can pass up the opportunity between a Noah and Bennett drama.
And there comes the other percentage. That's why I said 70% that he will be on because of Bennett. Because Bennett is so triggered by him.
They will have Bennett on Paradise. Bennett already has bought all of his trunks. Like, Bennett has all of his suitcases packed already. He will be on Paradise. And if him and Noah wouldn't have had as long of a confrontation, I don't think that they would have had Noah on.
Yeah. He would have been someone that sort of just like slipped under the radar.
But I also don't think that they're going to have Spencer or Chasen on, or else I think they would have had them on the Men Tell All.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that.
Which is crazy to me because I feel like all the girls would have been like just dreamy-eyed over Chasen and Spencer because they're both so cute.
They might have Chasen. I mean, Chasen might not have been able to make it because of some sort of prior engagement. I could see them having Chasen on. I don't think they'll have Spencer on, but probably because he's just awkward on camera. Like if she said he's an awkward conversationalist.
But remember, he was our tea king.
I know.
We need him. I don't know. Oh, by the way, speaking of Paradise, quick little note. Ed, apparently Rudy from Listen to Your Heart, who was with Matt, has like a major crush on Ed. And so they put some Listen to Your Heart cast folk on Paradise.
I could see them bringing Rudy on.
I think they'll bring Rudy on for Ed. And I say, Rudy, how come?
Peril, why?
Rudy, you stunning, talented, funny queen. How come? What is it about him? Send me a DM. I'm very curious.
He's the royal joker in the court, and our queen apparently, I don't even know. I don't fucking know.
Anyways, so then Chris Harrison wants to talk about Blake's date, and that's when he throws out the shaman sex guru and disrespects, I believe, Gita by getting, things wrong.
That's when the chakra woman was saying like pure and simple energy, magic, pure, beautiful magic over Blake's dick. And that's why I'm like, okay, I like this fantasy of me hooking up with him in college.
Yes.
I'm here for it.
And he did, when he looked at Chris Harrison afterwards, he did a big sigh and he goes, I'm not shy.
I love him. Like, do I want to marry him? No, he's not my type.
No.
But like I said, would I have fucked him in college? Yes.
For sure.
Love him.
Yes.
Making me kind of horny. I'm like, why am I sort of into this guy now?
Okay.
Are you not? Am I not the only one?
Becca, I'm legit I feel so embarrassed saying this, and I don't. But when he was looking into her eyes, and we saw his like looking into her eyes, his smoldering. Obviously, she wasn't into it, but seeing his,
I'm sexually into him.
I was sexually into him too. What's the deal?
I don't know. And then when she's doing this whole energy, and I'm just like, he kind of fulfills this fantasy of just being like this kind of like really nice, but like really kind of horny dude who's probably into some freaky shit.
And he kind of like confidently was just laying there holding Tayshia's hand, like, and she was just swinging the pendulum over his dick, and he was not like laughing or embarrassed. He was just like, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
What can I say?
I love that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, was sexually attracted to him during this too. Oh, what's happening?
I don't know, but I'm fine with it. He's nice. Who do we see him with? I said Hannah Ann a long time ago, and I stand by that.
I didn't necessarily feel that exact way in the moment you said that. I'm like, yeah, maybe I could see it, but I don't know from her end. But now after watching this, I feel like he grows on you.
Because also like, okay, she's doing her whole like baking, cooking thing. I pop in on her Instagram every now and then. She's doing like baking stuff. He's all into animals. Like I see them being like a really wholesome couple.
Yes.
And like having kids together.
Yes. Now, Blake is from Canada. Speaking of Canadian, maybe McKenna. She loves to sing and dance and be silly.
No, I don't see them together.
You don't? Okay.
Didn't you say Bennett and McKenna a second ago? Where's McKenna coming out of nowhere?
Because I know she'll be on Paradise. Because I think she's currently writing the producers a letter every single week to be like, please don't forget me.
I want to know who Maddie's going to end up with.
I don't think Maddie will be on Paradise.
Are you serious? Why?
I don't know.
You don't think like she'll want to go on?
Mm-mm. I just have this feeling that I feel like she won't want to be on.
I could see that. But like if she was to have a crush on one of the guys, like I want to know. I'm really curious about like who she would end up with.
See her with more of like a surfer type.
But remember we talked about maybe Noah. Maybe Maddie and Noah.
Yeah.
They both have the youth group thing. Nice people.
True.
She showed herself to be a nice person.
If if Brendan and Tayshia don't get together, Brendan has been posting on his Instagram the past couple days all about church and Jesus. I've been noticing. You never know.
Interesting.
But he was married before, and I don't think Maddie would like that. Mr. Pruitt would be like, no. It's not going to happen. No, Madison.
I could see Maddie being into Noah, and I could see them both being into each other.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm actually here for it. You know, I was
that.
very critical of Maddie, but I'm fine with her now. We moved past it. We moved past it.
We move on eventually.
I don't think she knows who I am, but no, I think she's like, I feel like she's shown herself to just be like a nice girl.
Yeah,
Nice
I think so
girl.
too. Yeah. Well, then we get a glimpse of Ed and Chris Harrison's night together, which, by the way, Chris Harrison initially threw out that there was a gentleman who tried to get some extra time and it didn't go well for him or me. And at first, that sly comment about how Chris Harrison hated being with Ed, you saw Ed just look even more sad somehow than he already looks anyways. But then at the very end, Chris Harrison wrapped it by being like, our time together was actually pretty nice.
Yes.
And Ed like blissed out. He was just like, yes.
He's like, Ed was like, you're a wealthy man. I thought I could learn something from you.
We talked about what fund to move, like what coast we were going to move your money into.
That was hilarious.
Offshore accounts.
When we see the clip and Ed's like, if I have a comment, it's you don't knock anymore when you come in. That was so funny to me.
He's just like explaining to him, and Chris Harrison's just like stirring his red wine and just, it's interesting, Ed. Okay, I'll consider that next time.
He's to the producer. She's like, it's 3 fucking a.m. Get him out. We got the clip. We got the shot.
I thought this was just going to be a short shtick.
Oh my God. Now, then we also cut to Blake waxing Kenny. What was this for? Why was this?
He was waxing Kenny's pubes because Kenny needs to be completely clean at all times.
A king for you.
A king for me. You know, I wish we had an ad for Manscaped right now because I would be like, Kenny, my guy, you know what you don't need? You don't need to be waxing if you got Manscaped, the lawnmower, okay?
Manscaped's amazing, by
Manscaped
the way.
is incredible.
Like, that thing has a little light on it. Like, I know it's for men, but it's amazing for women. Like,
it's incredible for all. Also, though, like they're like the ball deodorant and everything is like.
This
I'm
is a free ad for Manscaped right now,
obsessed
but
with Manscaped.
I love it. They've got I really like. They've got good products.
I wish I could give it to like every man in my life without it being awkward because I feel like they would just enjoy it, even if like you're not one to shave, like
it's
all
also,
the deodorants and everything.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's nice for women too, though, with the electric razor because it's like it's very sleek. It's just simple black cordless, and the light is
the light's everything.
Crazy feature.
Sometimes you don't really know where you're going.
Totally.
I love to shave in pitch blackness.
You live a little, you know?
Just
live on the edge. My God.
I like to just, now with the Manscaped light, I like to just pretend like I'm like cave diving. What is that called?
Spelunking. That is such a gross word to use in reference to your vagina. Spelunk. Again, I'm gagging.
We spelunk sometimes together.
Oh my God, that's so gross. Okay.
Well, we see him waxing Kenny's pubes, and it was somehow I wasn't surprised at all. I was like, I just pictured Blake doing this for Kenny, sense. Like in my fantasies. Yeah. And I love that we saw it, and I'm so obsessed that Blake was just like, yep, who else was going to do it? And Kenny was just like, I needed to have it done.
Yeah.
I'm like, we love some confidence up in here, you know?
Yeah, so this is definitely, I noted here is like, this is an expedited mental. We are moving fast.
Moving quickly.
Okay.
Then, yes, Chris Harrison brings up Clare. Finally, we have mention of our first Bachelorette.
Who I forgot.
There is, yes, same. And there is visceral pain in Jason's eyes still. They cut to Jason, and I'm like, Jason's still not over Clare.
Jason's still in love with her.
Jason is still in love with her 100%. What this showed me, is speaking of Paradise, is that Jason will be on Paradise. And I know we talked about this. He will be on Paradise, and Clare will show up with Dale as an example of quick, true love. And they'll be like, it could happen with... Probably. And Jason's just going to be in the back, just like, oh my God.
Guys, no, I gotta go. And then it cuts to the men comforting him. Yeah, totally.
all the guys
Having a
around him
panic
just
attack.
like, it's okay. And like somehow he pulls out that dress that we thought he burned, and he was just like, I took the remains of it. I couldn't forget.
He has a little urn that he's carrying around. It's with the ashes of
smelling
the dress.
ashes.
Getting high off of the fumes of her burnt polyester.
Well,
Okay.
then we have to watch Yosef again. And we had to rewatch this scene, and I forgot what a horrible human being
I
he
forgot.
is.
Yeah, we didn't pick up on one thing that he said, which was crazy, that the nakedness would be a bad example to his daughter. But like, that was what he said. He was like, why would I do that? That would be like such a bad example to my daughter.
Yes.
Fixated, of course, on like showing his daughter the nudity with no thought to how he is talking or the things he is saying as a bad example to his daughter.
No.
Unbelievable.
No.
Unbelievable. And that was just like that insane patriarchal puritanical thing of like somehow showing your body is worse than hurling insults at
Berating
some poor
a woman. Yeah. Publicly on top of it all.
Unbelievable.
Well, I can say this confidently, and I think everyone at this point will agree, especially at the wrap of this. He is
Trash.
truly the most villainous person we've seen on the show.
Total
Him
trash.
and Chad hand in hand.
Totally.
And Chad even had where he would try to be comical, so there was that.
And it was sometimes funny.
Even through the horror, he would try to be funny. Yosef
No.
is I think the most villainous person we've ever seen.
Yosef, after that clip, when he was just being like this insane amount of disrespect and rudeness, he was smiling.
Smiling, watching himself.
He was smirking. Like he thought it was funny.
He loved it. Now, I was dying when Chris was talking to Yosef, and Yosef was like, well, there were red flags before the strip dodgeball game, but after that, when I saw the humiliation for the losing team, Kenny
Oh my God.
was legit squinting at him and was just like, I was waiting for this moment, and in fact, I liked it so much. I wore my blue jockstrap under my suit that night at the rose ceremony, which he did, by the way. He talked about it.
I'm sure he loved it.
He loved it, and he was just like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, he said, Yosef said, I don't regret sticking up for those guys. And every guy in the room was like,
Every single guy was just like, yeah, then Kenny. And this was the one moment.
except maybe Brendan, who wasn't there.
Right. But then Brendan said that he wasn't comfortable. And that was something which obviously we talked about before, how we felt about that date, and we thought it was inappropriate. But, whoopsie. But I thought one of the shining moments for my man Kenny on the episode was when all of a sudden he says to Yosef, hey, I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure half of the guys who were on the losing team are in this room, and we all could have said we didn't want to do that. And
He said, you're making us look like dicks for doing it.
yes, it's like we made the choice to do this, and then you continually talking about this and saying how humiliating it was made it hard, which I hadn't even thought about.
No, me neither. Of how Yosef was insulting all of them by saying that they were just like cucks for going along with it.
Yes, I hadn't even thought about how from there, and they were probably like, oh, was that should I have? And then all of a sudden they were spiraling about it too. I couldn't even believe.
Well, and then of course Chasen.
The men had to hold him down. They were having to hold him down. Chasen was just like
tears streaming down his face. My princess.
Don't you speak of her that way. Oh, Jason's blood was boiling.
I don't even know what he said. All I noticed is when he said, just shut the fuck up, Yosef. And I was like,
security.
yes.
All I bet I'm saying is Yosef better run to his car quick, because Chasen is chasing you down in the parking lot, and that's a fact. Like, he's about to start a confrontation. Oh my God. Well,
He was so defensive of her. It was really cute, actually.
and then when we found out he says he has no regrets. Oh my God. Couldn't believe it.
Okay, it gets even worse. I love how Riley goes, you're a Riley is one of my favorite moments. He goes, you're a terrible person. Ladies, watch out for this man. You're a terrible person.
I love that so much. It was just quick fact. You're a terrible person. Not going to say much more than that. Ladies, heads up. Also, just like, so you know, the night that Yosef's episode aired where he screamed at Clare, I don't know if I ever talked about this on the podcast. I was watching his Insta stories like the next day after we had recorded. And he was posting, he was at like he went out to dinner with like 15 friends and they were all cheersing him and like celebrating how he treated Clare. And he had like 3 blondes on his lap and like, the girls were like, oh my God. Like, yeah.
That's some Leo shit.
It was next level Leo shit. Yeah.
Leo's pretty villainous.
He is pretty villainous.
They should hang out.
Those two would be quite a pair.
No, they shouldn't hang out.
No, don't
But
ever.
maybe they should, because maybe they'll destroy each other.
The horrific power will be too great. It'll just combust.
Disgusting. Okay. Well, then Bennett
That's their couple
decides
name.
to, what is it?
Leo.
Leo?
Leo. That's their couple name together.
Or Yoli.
Yoli.
Or Lisa.
I like that too.
Bennett is then lecturing him too, you know.
I'm like, Bennett, if at this point you want to mention emotional intelligence, that would be great. Like, why don't you say it now? Okay, because this is an example of, you know, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this.
I mean, what really like turned my stomach and just like blew me away in a way that it was unbelievable. Was it Bennett or who asked him, how would you feel if someone talked to your daughter like that?
Chris Harrison.
Chris Harrison asked that question?
Yeah. And by the way, hey, everybody, you know what's real bad?
When the host
is
coming for you.
Is just like, so I'm going to give you a chance right now, and is having that moment with him. And Chris Harrison says, so we're clear. Watching that back, you wouldn't have any problem if someone spoke to your daughter like that.
And Yosef says this was just like, I mean, it actually made me sick to my stomach. He just goes, yeah, if my daughter did something like that, I would hope someone would call her out.
Turn the TV off. It was hard for me to keep just watching the show. I was like, I can't.
I mean,
done.
what he was doing was definitely a form of like emotional and verbal abuse.
Yes.
To Clare. And so I'm like, oh, you're okay with someone like verbally abusing your daughter?
Yes.
Fully okay with it. Well, actually, that's not surprising because I'm sure you verbally and emotionally abuse people in your life regularly since it came out on TV within 1 week of you being filmed.
And you're smiling and you're celebrating watching it back with friends. Like, you're bringing your friends to watch it. You're proud of what you did.
I mean, that is what always freaks me out about people on the show sometimes is I'm like, it took like less than 8 days for you to fully show that you're a fucking freak. Like, you are a horrible person.
And then he doubles down by being like, I don't care. And then Chris Harrison says, I rarely do he's like,
I know, I rarely do this.
I know, I wrote, I rarely do the right thing, but I'm going to say something right now, okay?
I rarely do this, but I want to help you, man.
I'm going to help you help yourself. That wasn't a good look. I'm like, a little bit beyond that, Chris, I would say. But I would love if you could just see that and apologize to Clare. And Yosef is like, I'm not going to apologize to Clare, and I don't care what these guys think of me. And I'm like, cool, get out of the studio. We never want to see you again.
You're disgusting.
And I will be thinking truly of your daughter like every day. Truly. What a scumbag. The definition of. Well, moving on because I literally can't handle him. Tayshia ends up showing up. The men are breathless when she walks in. Literally, they're catching their breath. They cannot believe they are seeing Tayshia again. But like I said, she just seemed sad to me. Maybe she was, like you said, just overwhelmed, like seeing all the men again, which is a huge possibility, obviously. But Chris Harrison definitely wants to start by clearing the air that there have been some elaborate rumors that this was a setup and that Tayshia was there from the start.
I'm like, oh, so you've been listening to our podcast?
Hi, Chris. But by the way, I would like to make something very clear for all of our listeners. Broads, let's talk about the wording in this, okay?
Okay.
Chris Harrison specifically says Tayshia was there. The elaborate rumors that this was a setup and Tayshia was there from the start. Then Tayshia makes a comment about, yeah, I wish I would have been there from the start. I would have had more prep time. And then they say, let's talk about the day that you were called. And she was like I've said, I was in bed reading and eating donuts. And then from there, it was about 48 hours before I rolled onto the property. Okay?
Yeah. I
Then-
noticed, I know what you're getting at, and I noticed the wording of this too.
There's never anything specific because Chris Harrison said that you weren't there from the start, which is true. She came like a week into Claire's filming. Okay. But then they do end up saying that they weren't sure what would happen with Dale and Clare.
Yes.
And so they do admit that she was on the property before
They got engaged.
Yeah. But they want it to be like really clear that like
That it wasn't planned months in advance. Like,
sure. Okay.
well, yeah, you didn't tell Tayshia about it months in advance. Maybe Chris Harrison didn't get told about it months in advance.
Right. And I fully believe that Tayshia, like she said, was called while she was sitting on her bed eating donuts. She had 48 hours to get herself to La Quinta to start quarantining.
Yeah.
Yeah. And be ready and waiting for if Dale
I don't think
Claire don't move forward.
they're not quarantining in the 2 weeks. Like, I think they're literally just doing rapid testing. Like, I think that I don't think she was there for that long.
Yeah, maybe
Probably maybe
week.
several days.
Yeah.
Maybe 4 to 5 days.
But she was there.
before they got engaged. Like,
and no.
And it was planned beforehand. I mean, like, it doesn't say anything that Tayshia was given no notice. I mean, they called Ari the night before. They said, you're flying out tomorrow morning to New York to be on Good Morning America to announce that you're the Bachelor.
Yeah.
Like, they do this to the leads all the time, you know,
Yes.
with this last minute notice. It's no different with Tayshia. And that doesn't mean that they didn't have it planned. I mean, the rest of the episode was just kind of a wash, to be honest. Not that okay, she tells Bennett she just wasn't that into him.
Yeah, Blake.
They go over the breakup with Blake.
Yeah, Blake, obviously because he didn't ask
You haven't
in
even-
the moment, he then was just like, well, can you tell me why? Like, I've been going over it for so long. And I was like,
He was like, do you regret it? Like, do you think that if we had more time that we could have worked out? And she's just like, honey, no.
She's like, remember how
Time wasn't the only reason.
she's like, sweet Blake, do you remember how like you thought that you'd never be able to get over Claire? You're gonna be fine. Remember how you were panicking and almost left, and now we're here?
There's gonna be a lot of cute girls in your DMs.
You're gonna find someone. You're
get
gonna
over
find
it, honey.
someone real quick.
Oh, and then the Riley breakup. I mean, that conversation was, I loved that she really made an emphasis on like, I did not break up with you because of like, please don't stop sharing. Please don't stop, opening up. Please
Yeah.
don't stop getting vulnerable. And I love that she really put an emphasis on that in their conversation.
Yeah, and I feel like he then got a lot of he just was able to get reassurance by what she was saying, because he said he was scared after everything was done filming that maybe he scared her off by opening up with his vulnerability,
Yeah.
which obviously I'm sure is a huge fear for so many people who struggle with being vulnerable. All of a sudden, then they are vulnerable, and then the person ends up leaving. It's like, oh my God, was that just too much? And so she obviously confirms to him,
Yeah.
like, no, it has nothing to do with that. And then he was, able to have that moment with her,
Yeah.
which was so sweet.
Yeah.
And then there's the bloopers, which the only thing that I have to say from the bloopers is that I wish that because we got some Claire bloopers that were super cute. I wish that we had seen more of that side of Claire.
Yeah.
All they showed us was like serious, like weepy.
Being cringy over Dale.
Yes, which I felt like this was kind of a confirmation of the editing that I'm like, look at, and all the guys were laughing at Claire and they didn't look like they had any animosity
No, I
towards
think
her.
all the guys liked her. And,
Yeah.
like, obviously, Jason,
Obviously, Jason
is
was
banking on their breakup.
every time Claire came on the screen with the bloopers, Jason like held back like a huge tear. He's
Sobbing, they had to cut his mic.
Jason's mic was unplugged that entire time as you heard him weeping in the background.
We also saw a fun side of Zach too. We saw Zach dancing and being silly.
We
which
saw
haven't
Zach
really
dancing.
Seen. We haven't seen a lot of silly Zach, and maybe that's why I sort of creeped out by him. Is they're always highlighting these instances of him being really intense and like really serious.
Yeah.
And I think that I want to see more of the fun side of him that I'm sure Tayshia sees.
Well, and hopefully in tomorrow's episode, we are going to see more of Zach because they'll have like a full date to themselves.
I can't even imagine the drama though. We already saw what happened when he just mentioned his parents last week.
I know. I'm so nervous. I'm really, really nervous about that. I'm also really nervous about Brendan now after that preview that he's all of a sudden like nervous and like unsure. He seems nervous and unsure in the preview. Also, we see Ben, and I can't tell if it's editing or not. Ben saying that he's not in love with her.
Editing.
You think it's editing?
Fully.
Okay.
We'll see.
We'll see. But that's going to be airing, or that's airing today if you're listening to this on Tuesday. That's airing on Tuesday, so the recap will be out first thing Wednesday morning. Oh my goodness. But I'm really excited, and I don't know I'm so curious how they're going to do the hometowns, just like on the La Quinta property, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, each family gets a villa. Like, I'm like, oh my God, these people have had to leave their jobs and whatever. Like,
I know.
Be there for a week.
Also, like, what an interesting thing to think about, having a hometown for the first time off of someone's, like, where someone kind of has like home plate a little bit. The feeling of like the lead.
Vulnerable. Oh yeah, the lead comes in and they're all like shy with like a gift, you know?
Right. And it's like this is our home versus when you're removing the family. I wonder if there's going to be a little more like vulnerability from both sides.
I think that is a perceptive thing for sure. You always see the dads and the moms being like, this is our house.
Yes.
This is our daughter kind of thing.
Don't you look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's like, yeah, now they're just like in some hotel suite.
I don't know about you, but we pray over our meals. Oh, sorry. Started eating one by. Oh God, I'm so sorry.
Meanwhile, they're in some hotel suite where they've been eating like veggie calzone for the past like 4 days or whatever they have on the hotel menu.
Mom has been taking some hot dips in those pools and been getting her tan on. Maybe everyone's a little more relaxed because everyone's been quarantined up for many, many months, and now they're having a little vacay moment. Maybe everybody's going to be allowed to
use the spa facilities, and they are going to be on edge when they've been trapped in that villa for a week and a half.
We shall see, indeed. Well, broads, we will chat with you tomorrow. And
so we will chat very soon.
We will chat very soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.